Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Global Speedrun Association. We have some winners round 2 coming your way now for Super Mario Odyssey's Any Percent tournament. My name is Dangers. Joining me on commentary today is Cheese James. Cheese, how's it going?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing good.
Now, do you like Cheese or do you like James or do you like Cheese James? What's your preference there?
You can do James.
James, all right,
Yeah.
sounds good. Sounds easy. Good to distinguish from the other cheese, I suppose. There's lots of cheese in the speedrunning community, it seems. But yeah, today we have a very exciting matchup indeed. So Equan versus Orolme. Equan, currently the world record holder in any percent. Orolme, currently the world record holder along with Parasite for the 2-player any percent. So a very interesting matchup coming up. Orolme, definitely not a pushover when it comes to the 1-player as well. He does have himself, I think, a high 102 time, so definitely a respectable runner in his own right for the 1-player side of things as well. So we could be seeing a very interesting matchup here.
Yeah. And it looks like both runners are practicing a leak clip right here real fast.
It does appear that way.
This is a very difficult clip. So.
Yep. It's about the setup. We've known about things like ledge clips for a while, but not have we ever really had a chance to use them to our potential. The idea here is the same. Ledge clips, if you're unfamiliar, essentially anytime that there is a ledge, so anytime that there is a wall connecting with a floor, there's 1 pixel basically right where those 2 surfaces meet, where you can actually just dive or fall or jump right through the middle of them. And you see this kind of thing when you do Snowdram. Snowdram is a very precise jump, and so it's actually very easy to hit that 1 pixel quite often. But we've also found out that that same mechanic works for things like 2 walls meeting. So the point in between the walls has a 1 pixel gap where you can just kind of slide right through, using that to our advantage to kind of do some weird, wacky, out of bounds stuff. Both of these runners going for it. It's at the beginning of the tournament, it was something that maybe only the craziest of runners are going for, but now we see people like Orolme going for it as well, becoming a little bit more widespread, well known, and definitely kind of solidifying a top time on the leaderboards nowadays.
Yeah, and I definitely think Small Ant's tutorial has a big role to play in that.
Certainly.
Yeah.
I think that Small Ant definitely cannot be understated when it comes to the Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning community. He's definitely done his part to help newcomers join in on the fun and kind of take it into their own hands. So if you like what you see here, definitely check out Small Ant on YouTube. He can kind of guide you through your beginning processes of Super Mario Odyssey.
Now we have Cap Kingdom here, kind of shows us the tutorial kingdom. Right here we're going to see a trick where both runners are going to go into first person mode and skip about half this cutscene here, so it's about a second or so.
Yes, this game kind of works in a way where things sometimes don't start activating, including like cutscenes, including talking to NPCs, until the camera has panned to a certain location. And so by going into first person, it actually makes the camera snap to that location instead of panning slowly. So that's how we're able to save some time there.
Yeah. Now both runners are going to be coming up to a trick called left side, where instead of going on the right side of the cap, like you're intended to, we're going to be using the hat on the left here to do a triple jump off of. And looks like Equan actually going for the dive fall, failing it.
Yeah, looks like Equan got a wall jump there by accident. So tried to set it up with the vault instead. Didn't get his cap bounce, so he's actually going to be put a little bit behind here. Now, I'd just like to remind you guys about our sponsor, Vi.GG, where you can place bets on your favorite runners throughout this tournament, as well as the Super Mario 64 70 star and the Super Metroid any percent tournaments. Go ahead and visit Vi.GG by typing !bet in the chat or by clicking the banner underneath the video. You, of course, must be legal gambling age in your country to participate. But with that being said, we leave Cap Kingdom Orolme with a slight lead here.
Yep, and now I believe we're going to be seeing a trick called First Moon Skip here. I believe both runners are on the 1.0 version of the game.
Yes, I can confirm that.
So runners are going to be jumping into the water here, and then I believe they're going to be going for the up throw method, maybe? No, Orolme going for a wall jump, and Equine going for wall jump lifts. Just trying to get out of the water here and go up below this invisible wall here, skipping the first moon and the cutscenes that are associated with it, saving about 25 seconds.
Yes, in the wall jumpless method, a little bit tighter. You have to make sure that you've got the right height, and that's where the up throw into a cap return jump comes in. So Equine taking the risky strat, but saving half a second as a result.
Now we are coming up on the mid-dam, a brutal fight here. Pretty simple for a lot of runners. Nothing really has changed with it over time. Just got a backflip on top of the chain jump and knock off his hat with Happy, and then instantly capture it. And if you capture him at the right spot, you can kind of fling back instantly and not have to use any motion controls at all.
Exactly. We kind of space it out in a way that is just out of reach for the golden chain chomp, so no need to tug on the chain, no need to worry about Madame Brutal chasing you around the arena. Just
Indeed.
to finish the fight off nice and quick.
Now, because we did skip the first moon, we are going to have to get 2 more moons at the end here, rather than 1 if you were doing a 1.2 running on the 1.2 version of the game. So we should be seeing the Cliffside Moon and then the Chest Moon.
Yep, these being the 2 fastest moons available in Cascade. The kind of gimmick with this game, unlike things like Super Mario 64, where the final boss is kind of hidden behind a certain threshold, this game is slightly more linear than that. There's no real hub overworld, but in order to progress to the next kingdom, you need to collect a specified number of moons. You'll see that they're kind of hollowed out on the top left corner there, and it won't let you power up the Odyssey and leave until you have got all the moons you require. So now both of these guys accidentally missing chest clip there, so they're going to have to come up over the top, and it looks like Equine's movement just a little bit more silky smooth, and he's going to be coming out ahead in Cascade here.
Yeah, chest clip being a trick where if you backflip, or I think it's just if you capture the moon while throwing your cap, you can clip higher up into the ceiling and clip out of bounds and just skip that dive that the runners did there. Saving about a second or so, I think. Both runners are now going to be moving on to the Sand Kingdom.
Now, things are probably going to change pretty dramatically here. I know that they're probably going to be following the same route, but there are definitely some variances in the tricks that they do that might put one ahead over the other.
Thinking them having many different routes develop over time, so...
Yep, Sand looks very different depending on your skill level.
Yeah.
The idea for 1.2 is to skip the Sphinx room entirely, for example, and skip out on the coins in favor of a coin hint art that you can get later, because talking to the Sphinx is very slow and you can't perform the clip in 1.2. 1.0, of course, going into the Sphinx room, but doing the clip, there's several different ways that you can go about doing the clip, including doing it twice to save a little bit of time. Also, Dram Strat has kind of evolved over time. There's many different ways to pull that off now, including using the icicle below. And just general movement has kind of changed a lot as we've progressed through this game. It used to be a very scary kingdom. It used to be one of the most technical, and now I feel like it's almost devolved into one of the least. It's one of the less scary kingdoms, in my opinion.
Yeah, Equine grabbing this moon, ooh, with the spin pound, and Orolme trying to do the same, but missing the spin pound. That moon right there is very difficult to get with the spin pound.
Yes, and if you don't know where it is, very difficult to get in general. Sometimes even I suffer some runs where I spend a little bit extra time trying to find where it is.
Now Equine going for Dram here. It looks like he is going to be using the Icicle variety, doing a backflip into an up throw to capture the bullet bill. The reason he is going to be using the Icicle here is it saves a couple more milliseconds because he is going to be skipping crate and going straight for this pillar here, and using the Icicle there makes it so the bullet bill is placed closer to this pillar.
Now, very interesting setup. I have never quite seen the way that he did it, jumping over the fence instead of from it. and just using the icicle there. I think he might have lost a little bit of time on his setup, just trying to like jump up and throw his hat a bunch of times. But
Yeah.
Some flashy stuff from Equan for sure.
Won't expect anything less from the world record holder.
And now approaching Sphinx clip.
Yeah. Okay, Equine getting the first clip on the first try.
And yes, by clipping directly into the Sphinx room, it signals to us that he's going to be going for double clip here. So he's going to have to do that same thing once more.
Orolme struggling with this clip a little bit. Same with Equine, struggling on the second clip here. Equine getting the second clip, and it looks like Orolme is just going for single clip here.
Opting for single clip, getting it on the third try. So he will be losing a little bit of time to Equan from choosing that particular route, but Equan is going to be a little bit tight here because of this double clip. It sets up the bird cycle in a bit of a different way. So if you spend a little bit too much time on that second clip, you run the risk of not making the bird cycle later on. So he's going to have to really hurry through this stage in order to make this bird cycle happen.
Oh, that was so close. Equine almost dying there, missing the roll off the Jaxi Ruins platform there.
Giving us a little bit of a spook, but
yeah.
He apparently knows what he's doing.
Okay, moving on to the Oasis here. Let's see if he can still make this bird cycle. And looks like he can still make the bird cycle. The bird's still being here.
Yeah, right up close and personal, in fact. So, good timing by Equan. Usually, yeah, you're looking at about 3 or 4 attempts if you can pull them off quickly. If you take any more than that, then you tend to be kind of in trouble, so...
And then Equan going for the difficult moon here. Notes, ideally, the fastest way you want to grab that is with 1 spin throw, but it's very difficult to even grab that moon with 2 spin throws.
Yep, lining yourself up in a way that grabs them all is very tough indeed. But Equan making quick work of the Sand Kingdom. He is on his way now to the next place of Lake Kingdom, I believe.
And I believe in this run, we will be seeing some late clip action from both runners. It'll also be very interesting and to see who's able to get the clip faster.
Yeah, certainly. I wasn't actually expecting to see so much of the late clip in this tournament, but here it is, front and center. Both runners practicing it before the match, so we can expect to see that from both of them, I think.
Yeah, and this late clip is a very precise clip, so we'll see how long it takes both runners to get it once we get there.
Yeah, this could definitely determine some lead change or something like that. But basically a make or break moment.
Before we get to late clip, though, we gotta grab this moon right here, and then we're gonna be grabbing 1 moon with the zipper coming up here.
Yes, and this zipper moon is actually what activates the area that late clip happens in. So we might as well grab this moon at the end of the corridor really fast. Then we are going to set ourselves up for the late clip, which involves kind of lining yourself up along this line here. And trying to throw Cappy in a direction where he begins to start going through the wall, and then that's your cue to roll towards. And Equan getting the setup rather quickly, only took him maybe 2 or 3 cap throw tries there, and didn't get any sort of fake clip happen to him there. So he is through, he is gone, he's away to the races, grabbing that checkpoint out of bounds so that he can teleport up here as soon as he grabs the chest.
And the purpose of doing this clip is that we skip the Rango fight entirely, which has a lot of cutscenes associated with it, and which ends up being very slow. Oh my, getting unlucky there.
Unfortunately, diving through, not getting the cap bounce that he needed to make it up to the checkpoint, not able to clip out of bounds either, so he's going to have to just carry on with the older route, fighting Rango. That's going to unfortunately set him back. It looks like these guys are really close, but Equan is, in fact, 2 moons ahead, does not need to do a boss fight either. He's going to be leaving Lake Kingdom quite a bit ahead here.
Yeah, like we said, definitely a make or break moment.
with such a new trick, and you know the tensions are high in a race setting, it can be very nerve-wracking to try and pull something like that off. So unfortunately not working out in Orolme's favor this time. But with that, Ekwon is off.
We're going to see it right here why we like to skip this fight. There are a lot of cutscenes that are going to start as soon as he grabs his multi-moon here.
Yeah, see how grabbing this Grand Moon obviously has a big cutscene associated with it. You do have to wait for all of this to happen. You gotta warp back to the Odyssey. Mario does a little spin, and he shouts, "Yeah!" And then you can finally leave. And because of that, we tend to want to cut those kinds of things out. There have been a couple of reroutes over the time that we've been routing this game, where we try and eliminate these things. The more that we can kind of put into our own control, the better. And
yeah,
the more opportunity to optimize.
Another great example of that is Wooded. Now we actually skip Spirit and Wooded as well, trying to cut out as many boss fights as we possibly can.
Yep, and very much like Lake Kingdom, there actually is a reroute that has been done within the last couple of months that eliminates the Spewart fight that does take place somewhere towards the end of this kingdom. And the setup for this is actually this nut clip that Ekwon is approaching right now. Going to be using this nut and the moon inside of it to clip inside the wall.
Looks like he got it. Maybe. Indeed.
Yes, he's through.
Now this is a difficult part though. Just because you get the clip does not mean you have successfully completed it yet. You need to get the bounce movement to make sure that you don't fall into deep woods.
Yeah, and then followed up by some very tricky movement afterwards.
Ekwon making it look easy, getting all the out-of-bounds movement perfect and very quickly.
Kind of thing you can expect from current world record holder, I suppose.
Yep. And Orolme setting up for a nut clip right now. Ooh, taking a bonk. Kind of unfortunate. Ooh, I don't know if he got that.
I don't know. That's a bit of a tricky one. Okay, yeah. He is through.
Not see if he can pull off this out-and-bounds movement.
Taking it a little bit safer than Ekwon did, but probably for the best. This is a very scary place to be.
Yeah, and more times than not. Yeah. I say more times than not, he's probably doing it in two-player. Ooh, skipping the wall jump there though, very impressive.
Very solid.
Missing spin pound though, but he backed it up good.
And speaking of cutscenes, routing work has been done lately to figure out a way to skip this particular cutscene as well, the one that Ekwon is sitting through now. There is a moon kind of closer to where the Odyssey and the shop are, up in a tall tree that we can get instead of this one. Theorized to save about 2 seconds if done optimally. For now, this is the safer way to go, I think.
Yeah, and this is something that we actually see in the current two-player world record, I believe.
I think you're right. And, that idea has kind of been hanging around for a while. Originally, it wouldn't have made sense because we were still fighting Spewart, and Spewart does not activate until you have gathered this story moon, so obviously the story moon was required. Now we don't do Spewart at all, we skip Spewart, so this idea kind of came back on the table. It's viable in two-player because you can get some very extra height from the two-player kind of control scheme, from the capabilities available by controlling Cappy and Mario separately, but by using the uproots nearby the tree, this actually is not such a terrible idea for one player as well.
Now Equine moving on to fast pipeways here. Let's see if he's able to pull this off, this room being very cycle-based.
Yes, you kind of have to do everything within the quickest time that you possibly can in order to make it work properly. Equine setup looking a little bit sketchy, but he's able to make it through here. Just gotta come through these fuzzies and then jump over these ones. Yep, the wall jump looks good. He's made it through.
Yeah, definitely a very tight jump there. Now we see Orolme setting up for this spirit skip trick. Ooh, getting the bonk there, or whatever you want to call that. I don't know what you would call that.
I think some people have started calling it floor bonks, which is a very fitting name. But essentially not being able to buffer his jump in time, and he's unfortunately going to be taking a little bit of stun for a moment there. Equine sitting in a very comfortable position right now, already on his way to the next kingdom. And Orolme doing the pipe room himself. Jumping over these fuzzies and between these ones.
Ooh, he ended up not getting it. Did not get enough height from that jump there. I don't think he got a cap return.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, which is what you need. You need a cap return to get enough height to make that jump. Now we'll see Equine moving on to the Cloud Bowser fight here. Getting the first hat capture immediately. Very clean. It looks like he is going for Bowser Manip as well. Which is whenever you want to make Bowser short the shortest amount of platforms as possible, saving a couple seconds.
Yep. Not really much you can do to manipulate this fight once you've learned the fast strategies, but you know, you got to do as much as you can anyway. This fight, not necessarily that difficult to learn. I think one of the very first speedrunning strats that I learned when I got into this game was this fight in particular. Not allowing Bowser to throw his caps towards you at all, just kind of standing in the direct line of fire and capturing the hats immediately.
Yep, and now we're going to see if Orolme can pull off the Cloud Bowser fight as well. Hopefully as clean as Equine did.
And Equine approaching Lost Kingdom now. Lost Kingdom, a very interesting kingdom to be in. Lots of instant death, purple poison surrounding the main islands here. Of course, falling in there does spell doom. You do get sent back all the way to the Odyssey, so falling in at any point in this kingdom is definitely a death sentence. Can be a huge time sink, so going to be trying to avoid that as much as possible. That being said, you still got to go fast. Equine going to be showing off some very neat tech as we go through here.
And now he is going to be grabbing one more move before he steps on the Klepto platform there to activate Klepto's trigger. Pretty much is confusing Klepto. Klepto thinks that he already has captured, making it so he can step on any part of the arena here for the kingdom without activating the Klepto cutscene anymore.
And that's right. Typically what the game wants you to do is kind of cross the bridge naturally as you approach the kingdom from the front, and then Klepto will trigger. Of course, this is very slow, so we can kind of trick the game into not knowing that we're here by going around the backside, which is what you see Orolme doing here, using what we call the meme tree to jump up the top of this cliff and around the back. And then, yes, doing what Equine did, activating Klepto from the back in order to deactivate him and make him not a problem anymore.
And Equine leaving the Lost Kingdom right now, moving on to Night Metro.
Just like that, super clean execution.
Yeah, this has not been a bad run by Equine at all, by any means. Definitely a clean run.
Yeah, Equine, known for being incredibly stellar at the early game, showing his prowess here. Orolme not far behind, still doing well for himself, to be sure. And now Metro. Metro is one of my favorite kingdoms in the speedrun.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangerous stuff in this kingdom, like the Metro Tower, where if you fail anything in there, you could be falling all the way to the bottom and losing a full minute. And then the Mecha Wiggler fight, where if you don't get that fight done in 2 cycles or phases, you'll be losing 30 seconds or more.
Yep, this night portion, particularly risky stuff happening here. Lots of like verticality in this kingdom, so lots of opportunities to fall down to your death, or even just like to a place where you have to repeat some sort of platforming sections, as we will see with this section coming up for Ekwon. A lot of top runners have no troubles with this particular city hall, but things can still go wrong.
Yeah. Hopefully nothing goes wrong here, though.
Yeah, making some precise jumps, using this pole and the wall behind it to wall jump all the way to the top, essentially. Grabbing one quick power moon while we're here, and then he's going to be performing a long jump across the city hall. This is the scariest part. The camera can play some tricks on you here, but making it look easy. He's through the door and onto the Mecha Wiggler fight.
Okay, let's hope Ekwon can get this fight done in 2 cycles here and not have to suffer going to a 3rd cycle. That would be very bad.
Yes. 3 cycle is basically a 20-second time loss. And I believe that any pattern that the Wiggler can give you, this is one of the instant of pure RNG that does exist in this run. Super Mario Odyssey is not very RNG heavy, but this is one particular spot where it can be a little bit of a pain. So we're going to see this Wiggler, as it comes out of the wall this second time, it's going to run around the wall in a random pattern. Some patterns are easier than others, but I think that all can be potentially 2-cycled if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it looks like Ekwon getting a very clean pattern here and killing the Wiggler just like that. Very clean.
Yeah, you do like to see the Wiggler kind of cross down along the bottom. That's probably one of the most ideal situations. So getting a very lucky pattern here, and on to the day portion of Metro, just like that.
Then we see Orolme just leaving this tower right now and moving on to the Mecha Wiggler fight.
Yes, and we'll see if he has quite as good of luck as Ekwon does with this Wiggler fight. Now, Day Metro, a little bit less scary, a little bit less of huge time losses available here, but still, it's kind of the kingdom where the time starts to bleed away. So there's lots of little tricks that you can kind of pull off here, and by missing any of them, you kind of lose a second here, lose a second there. So if Orolme were to execute perfectly, for example, and Ekwon were to kind of mess up every trick a little bit, then he would be making up some substantial time. That being said, Ekwon going for scoop clip, clipping through the cage on the drive-by, very, very swift there.
And let's see if Orolme can get this 2-cycle here on the Mecha Wiggler. Missing one eye, but it looks like he's going to be able to make it up here. And just like that, getting the 2-cycle.
Very nicely done.
Now F1 talking to the bench guy here. Gotta see what's up with him. Make sure he's having a good day and get him in from him. Now we're gonna be, I believe we're gonna be seeing the little bit newer Metro route where we're gonna be doing the musicians early here instead of warping out of this girder.
Yes. Used to be that once you got that girder moon, you would warp up to the top of City Hall, get some moons, and then grab the musicians last. We have found out recently that warping there does lose you just about 2 seconds if you can get out of the girder optimally. So opting for that strategy doesn't surprise me. Ekwon is the runner that goes for all of the tricky, difficult strategies. So going to be trying to be as optimal as possible.
Ooh, taking a bonk there on those plants there.
Yeah, that's a tricky planner.
Yeah.
That planner does not like speedrunners at all. Likes to get right in the way.
Yeah. And now we're gonna be talking. Equan's gonna be talking to everyone's favorite musician, Otep here.
Yes, indeed. So now he has gathered all of the musicians he requires. Now he's going to be warping up to the top of City Hall. Now, of course, that reroute, essentially what it does is it removes one loading zone by, when you reach the end of this route, you are inside the crowd room. You don't need to leave it via the door, so that does save that time there.
Oh no, Equan falling off the trash moon. Very unfortunate. He tried to go for a risky spin throw there and ended up not getting enough distance because of it.
Yeah, this game can be a little bit unforgiving sometimes when Cappy interacts with things such as like flower pads or, you know, treasure chests or, you know, this trash dumpster, for example. It sometimes eats your frames, and that's exactly what happened here, I think. So Equan going to have to teleport all the way back up to the top of City Hall and redo that moon. So giving Orolme a little bit of an opportunity to catch up here, I think.
Equan getting a very nice spin pond off the top of that tower. That's very precise and very hard to do.
Yeah, your setup has to be just right for that to work. Making it look easy, of course.
Now Equan going into the crowd room or the people's room that we were talking about earlier. And typically in the old route, you would have to leave this room, but we only have to enter it, and therefore we're skipping the loading scene.
Exactly. Once we're done with this room, we will have the amount of moons that we require to move on to the next kingdom. So he will warp directly to the Odyssey. Orolme making it to the trash moon safely there, just taking a bonk on it, but that's not a big deal. We'll be saving some time on Equan here.
And now we're going to be seeing Equan move on to the Snow Kingdom. Snow Kingdom being a very scary kingdom for top level runners, because they have to perform a trick called Snowdrum at the end of it, and if failing that could lose upwards of 15 seconds.
Yeah, Snow Kingdom, not one of my favorites. The Snowdram trick, quite a bit fun to do and flashy to pull off, but extremely scary, of course. Missing it does lose you quite a bit of time, and once you've chosen to kind of opt into Snowdram, you don't really have a choice but to go for it. There's not a whole lot of power moons available in Snow Kingdom. So once you've kind of committed, you cannot stop, and you just have to go for it.
But before we enter Chiveria here, we got to say hey to our good old pal Captain Toad here.
He's just hiding in the ice wall here. Got a quick little power moon for us. Yeah, mentioned before, Snow Kingdom it's a little bit unforgiving. Doesn't really have very many quick power moons at all. We actually have to go out of our way for some story moons. There are some quick moons available once we've achieved World Peace, but World Peace requires doing the Bound Bowl. Of course, the Bound Bowl is not quick at all, so don't really have much of a choice but to work with what we're given.
Yep, and it looks like Equan is choosing to do Snowdram because he did not do the shop there. Typically, if you choose to do the Wrangle Room instead of Snowdram, you would grab the shop right there rather than going on the umbrella.
That is correct.
Equan's struggling here to get down this hallway.
I can attest, for some reason, getting the spin pound around that corner does not always work. I feel like I have to buffer my spin quite a bit more than usual. Now, Equan not opting for any moon clip into the wall here, a strategy that was developed by Acrid that is kind of risky, doesn't save a whole lot of time. It is rather characteristic of Ekwon to go for the tough strategies, so interested to see that he isn't going to opt for that one specifically. But, you know, playing it safe, playing the fair choice here.
I feel like that moon clip is not something that's common to go for.
No, especially not at any percent. You definitely see it in the longer categories, which make use of bound bowl because you can get out of bounds rather easily with it. But in any percent, not saving nearly as much time, only using it to kind of cut the corner on this loading zone for this poison room. We'll see if Orolme is going to set himself up for Snowdram as well.
Indeed he is. He's choosing not to go to the shop to the very end of the route.
Very nice. So this could be a make or break moment for both of these guys then.
Yeah, and Ekwon is going to be going to the shop after he's done with this room. He has to grab one more moon at the very end here, this last story moon right here. And he's going to be entering the shop and then setting up for Snowdram. And while we wait for that, if we look at Orolme, he's getting the triple jump in this room. This room being very cycle-based, you gotta try to stay up to date with the cycle so you can get the triple jump pushed by the blowy Joey there.
Yeah, gotta land on the stairs to make it happen. And, you know, it's very cycle-based as well. If you don't make it to the stairs in time, then you kind of just have to back it up slowly.
Okay, this is a make or break moment for Ekwon right now. He's going to be warping to the Odyssey as soon as this cutscene is over here, and he's going to be setting up for Snowdram. Many runners have many different visual cues for this trick, but typically what you want to do is you want to go into first person. You want to get on top of the Odyssey, then you want to go into first person mode, do whatever visual cue works best for you, then do a cap vault off the Odyssey, into a cap bounce, into a rainbow spin, into a cap to dive, making it look easy right there, Ekwon.
Very nice. Showing why he is the world record holder indeed, pulling off the hard tricks with no difficulty at all, and on his way to Seaside just like that. Now, of course, that moon is not supposed to be accessible to us at all during this part of the game. The idea with that moon is to come back through a warp painting from a different kingdom. A lot of the bigger kingdoms have warp paintings hidden somewhere in them where going through them takes you to a different kingdom instead of having to take the Odyssey. Very useful in longer categories, skips all of the Odyssey cutscenes, dumping the moons in the Odyssey, all of that kind of thing. But the development of that particular trick does allow you to get that moon early, which is rather helpful in shorter categories that don't make use of the warp paintings.
Yep, and now we're going to be seeing Orolme go for the same trick, Snowdram. Let's see if he can pull it off as soon as Ekwon did.
Now, from what I am seeing here, it doesn't look like he actually went for it in his first race, which is interesting. Maybe he has been practicing this. I know that Snowdram does exist on the two-player version of this run.
Orolme having some very weird first-person issues there, but moving on to do the trick. Let's see if he can make it, and he did.
He made it up. Very nice.
And I believe he did plan on going for this trick just because he knew he was going to. He was facing against Ekwon, and he knew Ekwon probably would go for it as well. Now Ekwon going for the note swing here. He's probably going to be doing some rocket flower resplash right here, where you can do a spin throw into a ground pound to reset the rocket flower and make it last longer. And you have to do the same thing before grabbing this moon right here. Making it so you can skip capturing the Gushin to the right there and just run across the water using the rocket flower instead. It's doing about a second or so.
Yes. Very smooth actions there by Ekwon. Diving into the moon too, very risky strategy. Of course, if you miss the dive, then you are just going to end up running right past the moon. So, very good Seaside from Ekwon so far.
Now this part of the kingdom that Ekman's on is typically the easiest part. Just gonna move around the CP here a bit and just grab some quick moves along the way.
Yep, this fish part, not the most exciting portion of the run at all. Just kind of zipping through the underwater chasms, collecting some fast moves along the way. And after that is done, we will be on our way to the next kingdom just like that. Seaside, not necessarily very difficult. I would say that maybe the Rocket Flower refresh is the one thing that you can kind of worry about in this kingdom. But aside from that, you're basically just taking a little bit of a breather before we have to approach luncheon.
And now we'll see if Orolme is also going to be going for the Rocket Flower refresh here. Ooh, he might actually mess up the... Ooh, good recovery there. He's accidentally got a cap vault there, making it very awkward to complete those notes.
Yeah, and not opting for any Rocket Flower refresh after that. Just going to be going for the Gushin here. And then making his way through this fish portion as well.
Now Ekwan is going to be going for a pretty tricky trick here at the beginning of Luncheon Kingdom, going for a trick called Salt Triple, trying to triple jump off the salt pile right here to make it up this wall and land on the salt pile above to grab this moon.
Yep, solid execution there. Very tight jump. Got to be very precise on your inputs, making sure that you get the maximum height out of all of your movements. And Ekwan making it look easy.
Now Ekwan is going to be moving on to the spear right here. Unfortunately, there is no practical way of skipping this boss fight that we use in any percent.
Yeah, there is a way in order to skip the boss, but it does kind of take a while to set up. It's rather slow and doesn't really provide any benefit for the speedrun, so we just do this fight anyways. And now, just a reminder, we are sponsored this event by Vi.gg, where you can place bets on your favorite runners, maybe win a little bit of money as well for that. If you want to learn some more information, type !bet or click the banner underneath the stream. Of course, you must be of legal gambling age in your country in order to participate in that. But, you know, interesting way to support your favorite runners and maybe win something for yourself too.
Ekwan is making his way up to this cliff here where he's going to grab a moon on the top of it right here. And Orolme going for a salt triple as well, unfortunately failing it, having to pull off a little bit of an awkward backup here.
Yep, solid backup though.
Yeah.
Didn't waste too much time. But Ekwan literally flying through the stage, not having any issues with his movement here in Luncheon so far.
Indeed, Luncheon being a very difficult kingdom for movement.
I would say so, yes. Another one of those kingdoms that it's very easy to kind of lose time along the way. Ekwan going for the roll cancel off the top there. That is definitely the fastest way to go about it, but he's actually going to miss the ground pound there, unfortunately, just a little bit off center, so he's gonna have to wait for the Podoboo to come all the way around the island again, losing about 4 seconds. Not the biggest deal, still has a commanding lead, but actually using the Podoboo and lands on the land, so now he's gonna have to wait for a new one to respawn. This is a certainly huge time loss.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Now he's gonna be moving on to the forks room here. what you want to do is just capture as many resources as you can to make your way over to 2 moons that are at the very end here, the secret moon, and then the moon at the top, and he almost died there, but he was able to home into that fork very quickly there. Good
Luckily,
reaction
Cappy
time.
not going in any sort of weird directions, otherwise he would have been toast.
Yeah, very close.
Probably happy to be coming out of that Forks room unscathed.
Yeah.
Now approaching this atop a tall chasm moon, and then we're going to be setting up for turnip clip here.
Yeah, turnip clip being a trick where you use a turnip and a panbro, and you put the panbro in between the cage turnip, and you can use that to clip into the moon.
Yep, just like that. Already through the wall. Now this is a 1.0 exclusive trick.
Yes, you cannot pull off this trick on the version 1.2 of the game. Or, I don't know if you can pull it off on 1.1.
It is possible on 1.1, yes.
Okay.
But nobody really plays on 1.1 anymore because it's not readily available anymore. If you have a digital cartridge and you do not update a digital version of the game and you do not update to 1.2, that's about the only way that you can get 1.1. But basically now, if you've ever downloaded the game nowadays, it will auto-update to 1.2 if you buy the digital version, so not any way that you can reliably get 1.1 anymore.
Indeed. Orolme having a little bit of a better fork soon than Aquan, saving a little bit of time on him there. Aquan now finishing off the kingdom and moving on to the Ruined Kingdom boss fight.
Yep. Arguably the scariest and hardest kingdom in the entire game. Now, Orolme setting up for a turnip clip. His setup looks rather good. Dropping the panbro in between the cage and the turnip and pushing him through. Very nicely done by Orolme. And now just got to take care of a couple more moons here. Going to be lighting the lantern, getting a moon pop out from there, then jumping behind the mountains, grabbing one more, and then up the top of the mountain to get the multi-moon associated with twitching the meat at the top of the platform, and then he will be right on Ekwan's tail entering Ruined Kingdom. But Orolme going for the spin pound there and actually missing the platform, diving directly into the Pepto-Bismol below. This is a tragedy. He's going to have to climb all the way back up the mountain from here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Definitely a very big time loss. Oh no! F1 dying on the dragon fight!
Oh my goodness.
I guess
Now,
just like you said, the scariest and hardest part of the game.
I mean, when you do it like Ekwan does, it absolutely is. This guy, every time he activates this fight, he likes to show off a little bit. He likes to jump around the outside of the arena and start doing some wall jumps on the outside, just to be a little bit flashy, but not actually getting his wall jump off there and falling to his death, having to activate the fight again. Unfortunately. Oh, and he's going for it again. What a...
He's going for it, and he's gonna die again! He's showing off! He's trying to show off!
Ekwan, what are you doing, dude? It's like he wants to make this race a little bit tighter, I think. Now what is he doing? He's going underneath the stage. I'm not really sure what is going through his mind here. I don't know if he wants to just throw the race or what is happening, but I really don't understand at all what he's trying to accomplish. Either he thinks he's lost and he's just throwing the race, or he knows how far ahead he is, and he is just opting to. Oh my! Equan, what are you doing? Okay, now he's in a situation where things could be potentially very scary. Orolme is right on his tail now, and I think that he must know that, because he's just activating the fight as fast as he can.
Hopefully he doesn't go for that again.
Please do not.
Yeah, this is now a very close race because he died on this fight 3 times.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that anymore. What a display from Equan. You know, the flashiness not paying off 3 times in a row. But yeah, just like that, all of a sudden this race is incredibly close. And by no real fault other than Equan's choosing to do some rather silly behavior, I would say. And, you know, he still does have the lead. He had a pretty commanding lead coming out of Lunch Kingdom, but all of a sudden it's down to within 30 seconds.
Oh, and he might, oh my god, he's on very low health here in this phase of this boss fight. Could potentially die, but he looks like he's good. He needs to grab a health here. Ideally 2 more health fleet if there's enough available.
It does look like he's gonna just grab those moons, or those hearts, to heal himself.
Yeah, because staying on this fight at this point would be probably end up on him losing the race.
But yes, certainly. Orolme already in this fight himself, so it would be catastrophic to take a death here now. So Equan has the Power Moon. He is safe from the Ruined Kingdom, which, you know, apparently is the scariest kingdom in the entire run. Finally on his way to the next place, Orolme grabbing this Power Moon as well. Only 1 Power Moon cutscene behind Equan at this point, so right on his tail as we enter Bowser's Kingdom, and there's still so much that can potentially go wrong in these upcoming kingdoms. This race got a lot more interesting all of a sudden.
Indeed, Bowser's Kingdom having some very difficult tricks. The Shadow's movement being very difficult, in the Mecha Burrito fight also being very, very difficult.
Yep, and a lot of the general movement in Bowser's Kingdom can be rather well. Looking at a lot of like intense platforming sections, kind of separated by cutscenes. So the execution of these is going to be critical. Now, Equan, notably a supporter of this strategy here, involving this Pokio and a capture warp back up to the tops of the roofs. You can either choose this moon or another moon below a corridor floor as your kind of extra moon. Orolme going for the 2-player strats here, going for the triple jump off of the ramp. So he is, in fact, injecting a little bit of his 2-player knowledge into...
Equan taking a bonk here, making it even just a little bit closer just with that bonk.
Yep, just like that. Equan grabbing that moon, Orolme right behind him, within probably 5 seconds of each other now. But also have to note that Orolme did not grab that moon from the Pokio capture warp, so he will be going for the crate moon later on. So he is still technically quite a bit farther behind than it may appear.
Now, both runners coming up to the start section here that I was talking about. The movement here is very difficult if you want to try to get everything optimally.
Yep. So Orolme having a little bit of trouble with that second shard. This is probably the trickiest shard in the entire section, in my opinion. Ekwon nailing the triple jump into a dive back strategy. Definitely the fastest way to do it, but the timing is very tight, making it look easy. Now he's
Orolme struggling with... Yeah, Orolme struggling with that third shard as well, and the fourth one. Struggling with every shard at this point.
Yeah, shards are not his friend today.
Struggling with the last one as well there.
Yeah, I think he might know how high the stakes are right now. He might have of just how close this race is. So trying to hustle his way through, but causing a little bit of spaghetti in the meantime.
Ekwon going for a trick we like to call Bowser's Gram, warping to that Bowser electric wire right there after grabbing that moon.
Ekwon trying to get that optimal dive out of the wire, diving in the wrong direction, unfortunately. So going to have to just kind of do a walk of shame to the next pylon, choosing Harriet first here.
Going for the first-person strats, it looks like. These first-person strats, I believe, were created by Fur, right?
Yes, that is correct.
You want to just use a visual cue to make the bombs go right back into Harriet super fast like that. Ooh, missing the bomb there. Very unfortunate. Nice backup, though.
Yeah, able to hit Harriet on the setup there. But, you know, giving Orolme a little bit of time to catch up still.
Yeah, this race is still very, very close. Every mistake at this point matters.
Absolutely. Ekwon is one moon ahead still. But getting the moon underneath the corridor floor does not take too much time. Probably seeing about a 10-second difference between these guys. Orolme having a little bit of difficulty with that last phase, I think, but able to nail it down onto Topper now.
Looks like they are one boss fight apart.
Yep, Orolme finishing up Topper here, getting the last hit down on the boss. Going to be grabbing that power moon, and then also has to grab the one extra moon beneath the corridor floor. So Ekwon is going to be just going directly to the Robo Brood fight at the top of Bowser's Kingdom. Still has a little bit of a lead, but definitely not as commanding as it was before Ruined Kingdom.
Ekwon having very quick movement through the section. Catching his Pinocchio and then beginning the climb with the Pinocchio up to the Mecha Brutal fight.
Yep, and if you do this optimally, you do set yourself up for a nice cycle with these wall panels sliding back and forth, so you can just kind of jaunt up the wall rather quickly.
Ooh, very close there by Orolme.
Yeah, having a little bit of difficulty breaking open the crates there, but was able to get them open just in time through the wall. Now he's going to be following Ekwon up this Pinocchio climb.
Ekwon on the Mecha Brutal fight, following the Brutal. Not good. Trying to have to do some sort of an awkward backup here. This could change the lead of the race.
These precious seconds are going to add up here.
Getting that Rango hit there. Lining up to hit Topper right here. Oh, he almost fell off there. Missed the hit originally, but luckily did not fall off the Mecha Brutal again.
It's extremely close moves by Ekwon here. Going to be setting up for Harriet third, I imagine. Orolme having a much cleaner climb, so this lead of Ekwon's is slowly dwindling away. He has to be very careful with what he does here.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play it safe and if he doesn't play it quick, then this lead could change over to Orolme at the very last second.
F1 missing target acquired here, having to back it up.
Oh my
Ooh,
goodness,
falling
and he's
off!
the neck. just like this,
my God.
this could be the determining factor. If Orolme is able to pull off his last 2 hits in time, this will be the lead for him, and he will be on his way to the moon with.
Oh, that very quick back. Oh no, that was a very clean mid-air Pokio capture, though, I would have to say. But he missed the climb there, having to wait even longer, and just like that, Orolme is back in the lead.
Orolme's in the lead.
Yeah.
And Ekwon, not able to nail down the climb there. Now he's got to back it up. He's got to get up the Robo Brood as fast as possible, get that final hit. And
Falling off
falling
again.
off again. You can see the panic in the way that Ekwon is playing here. This is not good at all. He is having a really rough go of trying to get back up on top of this Robo Brood. Disaster has struck Ekwon. Probably going to be regretting what the showing off in Ruined Kingdom. This is biting him in the butt now. This is down to the wire, essentially.
I would like to call this a bit of karma for that.
And so, just like that, finally Ekwon is able to pull out the Robo Brood fight. Orolme on his way to Moon Kingdom. And it's all going to come down to Moon Kingdom.
Moon Kingdom still does have quite a bit of places where you can lose a lot of time, so this race is by no means decided yet.
Yeah, this is a very scary situation for Orolme here. Actually seeing in chat that he doesn't look very confident in his moon abilities, but essentially this kingdom is made up of 3 giant chunks, and if you die in any portion of those chunks, you go back to the beginning of said chunk. So the first portion being this journey to the cathedral, including the moon cave skip, and if you die any portion of this, you go back to the Odyssey. So clean movement, very important here.
Yeah,
Getting the triple jump here.
Getting some nice vectors, saving a little bit of time with that.
Yeah, just throwing his cap for safety, but still making solid time with his jumps, avoiding the moon snake, going to be boosting across the sand, or these moon dunes, I guess you could say. Got both rocket flowers nicely there.
Now going for moon cave skip. This is probably the most important trick in the run, as this skips the entire moon cave, saving about 5 minutes, I believe. It is the biggest time save in the run.
Certainly. And one that we found relatively early in this speed game career of this game, I suppose. Just like noticing that the moon physics allowed us to get up the cliff rather nicely. Orolme making quick work of the cave skip. Ekwon getting extremely good vectors there, not even having to take a dive. But now Orolme is on to the Bowser fight. This one is very much like the Cloud Kingdom fight, with the exception of one added phase where Bowser kind of spits fire at you for a little bit.
Ooh, Ekwon missed anything up.
Moon cave skip.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Let's see if Orolme is able to pull off this instant hat capture here. Just like that. Manages to get it.
Yeah, the second phase being probably the hardest as far as capturing the hat goes. You have to time a very precise backflip and cap throw to capture the hat.
Ekwon going for the flashy spin throw insta hat capture there.
Yeah, flashy strat there. Doesn't save a whole lot of time, but does look very cool indeed. Now Ekwan setting up for that same one, getting the capture. Orolme done with the fight now, onto the escape sequence.
Escape being a very scary sequence because it has a trick we like to call 2D skip. Let's say it's about 2 seconds, I believe, but if you fail it, you can lose upwards of a full minute. And it's being very scary because it's at the very end of the run.
Yep, and we do see Orolme doing the triple jump here, getting up the platform. He's going to be setting up for this 2D skip here, and we are within time of each other that if he were to miss this trick, it would cost him the lead. So, boosting through here, making the jump.
Oh my god, that was so close. That was very lucky. I don't know how he...
Scary fall.
Yeah, I don't know how he backed that up. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, he should not be alive right now. The lead should be Ekwan's, but Orolme probably, you know, very, very happy with how that turned out. Could not have been any scarier there. And now it comes down to Pillar Room. And of course, if Orolme dies in the Pillar Room, then Ekwan will be running away with the lead. But the Pillar Room quite a bit safer than the 2D skip section there. So hopefully Orolme is able to hold on. This could be a potential upset by Orolme. Ekwan having a commanding lead all the way through this race and throwing it in Ruined.
Orolme having 2 pillars left here, as he did the trick we like to call Orolme, where we just spit a bunch of pillars, a bunch of fireballs at the pillar to the right to try and knock it down a bit quicker instead of getting it at the end here.
Yeah, Orolme did indeed take a little bit of extra time breaking the pillar, but just about any extra time spent breaking the first pillar is going to save a little bit of time over leaving it last. So good strategy here from Orolme. He's on the final platform and he's entering the pylon, doing a 360 as he enters. Maybe a little swag strats going on here. And with that, 104.31 from Orolme. He's going to be coming out with the victory here, taking it over Ekwan.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very entertaining race with a lot of twists and turns in there. Very scary.
And, you know, the decision of this one really coming down to Ekwan and his willingness to show off and willingness to be flashy. And really, really biting him in the butt at the end. Ekwan shooting out of the wire, 105.13 the final time on there as he shoots out.
Very fun race.
Very exciting to watch, that is for sure. Was not expecting quite the upset that we just saw.
Yeah.
But that being said, Ekwan will not be moving on in the winner's bracket, but he does have a chance to remain in this tournament. He will be moving down into the loser's bracket and, you know, still has a chance for redemption, I suppose.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, we can hear you.
Yes, we do have Ekwan in the call with us, and boy, do we have some questions for you. So, what exactly was going through your mind as you approached Ruined Kingdom? What were you doing?
I don't know, I was sitting here, approaching Ruined Kingdom, thinking, am I gonna roll at the start, or am I gonna dive? Because sometimes you go for the dive, and sometimes he rolls, and I was a little confused, and I thought I was gonna dive, and then he rolled, and it was rough. I lost like 0.3 to that, dude.
0.3. That's the whole reason. That right there.
I think that's the reason I lost the race, to be honest.
Yeah, nothing else in the race, just that.
Yeah. Otherwise, looked very clean. I
think that would have golded if it wasn't for that mistake at the start.
Yeah, a real shame, to be fair. And speaking of things that were just perfect, picture perfect, let's talk about the Mecha Brutal fight as well while we're on it. Yeah, very solid execution on that. I don't think I saw any mistakes there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Very,
showing
very,
us
very nice.
some unseen strats, some that we may have not seen before. But you know, all jokes aside, all memes aside, I think the flashiness is getting a little bit of the better of you. So you will be moving into the losers bracket. I'm not sure if your next match has been determined yet by the schedule, but
I think
you do still have a redemption chance.
Chat that I'm against him, so
Lucidity,
Yeah.
all right. So that'll be your next
Ooh.
match.
I'm actually pretty close friends with the city, so it'll be an interesting match. Hopefully I can commentate that.
And Orolme being the victor
Yeah.
of his match, moving on to face Chaos Pringle in the next round. So he will have his work cut out for him, I'm sure. I'm not sure if he will be joining us for interviews this day. But it doesn't appear so. He's going to take his victory humbly, and we will see both of these guys in the next round. So just don't forget that this match is sponsored by Vi.gg, where you can place bets on these runners, you know, and just about anything can happen. Potential upsets, you know, you never really know how you can come about making a little bit of cash on the side with this opportunity. Type !bet or visit Vi.gg by clicking the banner underneath the stream. But that is all for this round. We do have some more Super Mario Odyssey content coming your way in just about half an hour, I believe. We've got Sumbro versus Coin Kirby. So we will see you then after a short intermission. Thank you guys for watching.
Have a good rest of your day, guys.